Today, what I'll be showing you is how to mull two Neuma units. 3068 in-swing with a 3010 transom. The process to mull a transom or a sidelight is the exact same process. But instead of mulling it on a horizontal head, on a sidelight you'll be mulling on a vertical jamb. I'll begin. First step we're going to do, grab some silicone and we're going to apply it on the groove, on the exterior groove on the top, where the lip of the aluminum mull bar will be going. Just a small bead on the groove on the top of the head. Then I will be grabbing the aluminum mull bar. As you can see, he's going to have two lips. Those lips go in the groove. One will go in the top of our unit. Make sure it's in there. Grab your rubber mallet. Make sure it's nice and flush on each edge. Okay. Then we'll be applying some silicone on the top lip, on the top of the mull bar. Then I will be applying our transom. For training purposes, this transom does not have glass. And we can see the groove where the lip on the aluminum mull bar goes into. There will only be a groove on the exterior side, not the interior side. We won't wait for it to go in. Make sure it's flush with the edges. The jambs are lining up. From there, we'll be applying some C-clamps. And we'll be using little wood plates to protect the door. So we'll be clamping like that with a jamb in the middle to protect the door. You want to make sure that when you apply your clamps that you're not covering the pre-drilled installation holes. One here. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. You want the pressure divided equally. So usually try to get one close to the edge. If you have a wider door, you use 3 or 4 C-clamps. So the moment both your clamps are nice and tight, you want to double check. Make sure that your jambs are flush in here. You want to make sure that your jambs are flush vertically. Then we will begin the process of pre-drilling through the pre-drilled holes in the jamb, and we will be pre-drilling the aluminum bar. We will be using a 3/16 drill bit. The aluminum bar is not a solid bar. It's got 2 gauges to it. So when you're pre-drilling, you'll feel the first layer give. You want to make sure you go through both layers and then you stop right away. want to make sure you pre-drill through all the pre-drilled installation holes. We'll be taking the fastener. Then I will be pre-drilling through the top of the transom, pre-drilled holes downward. Now I will be pre-drilling through the transom down. Once you've pre-drilled for all the pre-drilled installation holes, then you'll be applying the fasteners. An important note, from the top of the transom downward, you'll be using a 2.5 inch stainless steel screw that is provided in your mold kit. On a stationary door, when you're molding a side light, you would only be using the 2.5 inch screws. In the transom, it will be a different situation, and we'll get to that right now in a moment. First, I'll be using the 2.5 inch stainless steel screws to screw from the top downward. So now we will be installing the fasteners from the head jamb on the unit upwards. This is the key note I was talking about earlier. From there you will be using a 2-inch stainless steel screw that is provided, because if you use a longer screw, you could puncture the IG unit on a transom. Very important that you use a 2-inch screw. This only applies for transoms. Side lights, all the screws will be a 2.5 inch stainless steel screw. After you apply all the fasteners, what you're going to be adding is your mending plate. You'll be adding this to where both units are molded, and it'll be going dead center. Before we screw that in, we're going to apply some more silicone. Make sure to cover every joint. You feel that void on the aluminum mold bar. After applying your silicone, we'll be installing the mending plate. What you want to do, there's going to be 2 notches on one side and 1 notch on the other. The notch on the other faces the exterior. That groove where the lip on the aluminum mold bar slipped into, you want to make sure not to cover that. You're going to be just offset of it. About a 1/16 of an inch offset from that groove. You want to make sure there's 3 sets of notches, that center notch is lined up with the aluminum mold bar. we'll be installing when installing the amending plate, you'll be using a 7/8 inch stainless steel screw that is provided. You'll be installing them in the pre-drill hole in the amending plate. On the two notches here, there will be a bracket that helps hold the frame together. It's a securing bracket. You can install two screws here, close the two center pre-drill holes that are close to the groove because of those brackets. So we're going to apply screws on every other hole except for those two. Now we're going to apply the amending plate on the other side. After you apply all the fasteners and the mending plates, then it's okay to remove the C-clamps. From there, we're going to be applying some more silicone where the aluminum bar touches the bottom frame of the transom, and also where the aluminum bar touches the head of the actual door. From there, we'll be adding the vinyl connective cover. What you want to do is you want to make sure it's flush on both sides. If not, you can cut it with a miter saw. So we want to make sure that it's flush with the edge of the frames. Before you mallet it all in, go to the other side and make sure it's flush. Once you confirm that it's flush, start on one side. Make sure that vinyl connective cover is touching the frame nice and tight. Then we'll be doing the same thing to the other side, the exterior side. And that is a process on how to mold two Neuma units.